Good morning, everyone. Dexter here from Redstack. Thanks for joining us for today's webinar, Introduction to BIM 360 Design in Revit 2020. So we will have technical consultant Tomislav presenting for us. So we'll just go through a bit about Redstack. So we're a leading provider of design technology and services to engineering and architecture professionals. With over 20 years of local experience, we provide the expertise, training, and support to help companies realize the full potential of the design technology. The Redstack mission is to deliver industry-leading services to the engineering, construction, and architecture communities. We work with clients and companies of any size nationally and abroad. Over to you, Tom.
Thank you. So everyone on the call, thanks for joining me today. As was mentioned, my name is Tomislav Golubovic. If you've probably heard of me before, I used to work for Autodesk, traveling around the ANZ region and talking to customers on a pre-sales basis. I cover things like Plant 3D. You can see on the screen there, Navisworks, InfraWorks, Revit, Civil 3D. I used to work for a lot of companies around Australia, notably Worley Parsons, GHD, Oricon, Boeing, to name a few. And previous to joining Autodesk, I used to do a little bit of civil, structural, electrical, telco work. Basically, you know, wherever there was a need for drafting and design, that's what I would do. So late last year, I left Autodesk, and now I consult to various companies and obviously work with Redstack on doing these webinars. So what we're going to cover today is BIM 360 with Revit 2020, and notably we're going to look at the what's called BIM 360 design. So up till a couple of years ago, it used to be called Collaboration for Revit, or C4R, when it was linked with the BIM 360 team. And it was around the late 17, early 18 versions of Revit where they switched it over from BIM 360 team to BIM 360 docs. And subsequently, there was a few name changes. So this it became what's known as BIM 360 design. Now, what that does, it takes the models that you have within Revit, and it connects, excuse me, it connects your models to the docs platform on the Autodesk cloud. So basically, whatever you have within your Revit model on your desktop, it synchronizes to the cloud, and then obviously gives you the ability to collaborate and work share across different regions, offices, cities, zones, whatever it might be. So just as a general overview, the BIM 360 platform, we have docs, design, coordinate, and build, and we're just going to look at docs and design today. So for docs, you can see there for all project stakeholders who need controlled access to information. So we can publish the whole model and all of the sheets. So we can publish just the sheets, we can publish just the models, and we have varying degrees of security and permissions within these docs folders, which is something we'll have a look at today. And then as part of that is we're going to look at design. So for real-time collaboration on Revit, Revit models, and tracking all of our deliverables on there as well. So you might synchronize once a week, you might synchronize daily. Again, that'll be up to you and any other stakeholders on the project on how often those models get published. Okay, so some of the other entitlements, we've got BIM 360 Docs, like I said, which is your document management, and you get sort of this project home dashboard, which we're going to have a look at in a second, and some insight in regards to sort of to see what is happening on the project. So with design, it is, like I said, the hook to go from Revit to BIM 360 Docs. So design collaboration, Revit Cloud work sharing. The classic products in there. So like I said, there was C4R, so collaboration for Revit and BIM 360 team. And again, it's got this document management and project insight and dashboard. So you can see there's a single data repository for everything. It's not spread across different servers or folders or anything like that. It's all in that one central location, and just that single source of truth for everything that you're doing on the project. And the project home and the insight is your dashboards and your analytics, as mentioned. So when you do subscribe to design, you do get all of these docs entitlements as part of that. With the back end, the administration, so you as an administrator on Docs, you create your projects, you assign certain administrators, and then from that you can add people to the projects or even particular folders as well. So it's all on a web interface. It's very easy to use and administer. You can have multiple administrators, you can have one, but usually I recommend to have at least a minimum of 2 administrators, just so if something happens to someone, they're not available on a particular day, then you have a second person as a backup. So what is BIM 360 Docs? You can see on the right-hand side there, it is our document control. We publish the drawings, we do markups and issues. Which is something we'll go through in a second when we do the live demo. We can view various 2D and 3D files as well. So it's not only the Autodesk products. You could put up their Office documents. You've got IFC, Navisworks, even Inventor models, Plant 3D models, Advanced Steel. So again, the file types is quite a large list of various file types you can upload there. Some of them will have the ability to edit on the cloud, and some files might only just be purely a storage sort of area for these files. So again, just depending on which one and whether it's an Autodesk product or not, will depend on what you can do with it. So we also have embedded data. So Plant 3D will bring in all the data, Advanced Steel, and obviously Revit and a lot of the others. Importantly as well is mobile access. So if you're out on site and someone changes the model back in the office or in another city or country, then as soon as they synchronize up to the cloud, then you will have access to that file on your iOS or Android device there as well. So you will always have the latest and greatest, and you're not carrying around various pieces of paper or PDF files that could possibly be out of date as well. And I personally think this is one of the better features of it, the version control. So having a look at V1 and V2 and V3 and so on, and having the ability to compare between current and old versions as well. So then that way you can see who has done what. So if you do publish every week, so you can see what happened on today being Thursday, and then you can see what happened the differences between this Thursday and last Thursday. So whether something's been added, something's been removed, or something's been modified. And like I said, BIM 360 Design is essentially the hook that is inside Revit that lets you publish up to the cloud. So it's not exactly an app, but it is an entitlement that inside Revit you need to obviously be signed into, and it gives you the ability to collaborate up in the cloud there as well. So multidisciplinary teams. So if you've got a type of project where you've got MEP is one model, and structural is another model, and architectural is a third one. It could all be one model as well, but if you've got 3 different models and 3 different cities or locations, then again we can see who's doing what and when and how they did it. As mentioned before, with the permissions, so there's a few levels of permissions which we'll go through in a second, tracking and coordinating the exchange of deliverable packages, and like I said, the visualization between the two. So and you can see down the bottom there, we do have the cloud sharing, which is what design is. There is design collaboration, and document management, as mentioned, is all part of this. So we're now at the demo side. Now, I'll just jump into the BIM 360 side, and this is my project. It's called Cirrus. There's an address there. It tells me what the weather is doing at that location there as well. There is no RFIs, but on this dashboard you can see that we can look at any RFIs that are mine or any overall project RFIs. There's a couple issues in there that are as part of the project, and it looks like I don't have any issues. I've got 2 issues assigned to me there as well. So overall in the project there's 3, and I know that 2 of them are mine. I've also got another little sort of widget here that shows my own design issues. So you can see I've got project on the left and mine on the right. If there's any other RFIs middle, so we don't have any in there. And we also have the design packages. I'm not going to go through design packages today. That will be covered in a future webinar, so do keep an eye out, and that's something that we will discuss where there is a package that is either issued to me or to different companies, I can see the title of that package and when that package was done as well. But essentially, if we start in the back end, so within BIM 360, within the admin, so this project is created by an overall admin. You can see Max from Redstack is an administrator, and I know I've got my own 2 accounts here, my personal and my business one. And over on the right-hand side, we've got the little panel here to denote whether that person has access to a particular area of BIM 360, and whether they're an admin or whether they're a member of that as well. So you can see we can go through and change all of that. You can add project members. We've got companies that can be added in here. So obviously this is just a Redstack company that we're in here, but this, if you're on a live project, this could obviously be quite a long list. And the list of the services that are active or inactive in here. And you can see there we don't have glue, field, or plan active, but I do have collaboration, project, and doc management active. And I can see who the administrators are, and I can determine whether I want to activate those services or not. And once the project is created, and we go into the doc management side of things, this is where there's 2 areas where there's a plans folder and a project files folder, and they both have different actions. So the plans folder is where we can upload PDF files, and we can get some OCR technology happening in there for it to recognize different portions of the title block and populate different metadata in here. But essentially, I'm going to be working in the project files folder here today, and you can see I've already got some Revit files in there. I've got some AutoCAD files, and I've even got an InfraWorks model in here as well of Albert Park. So you'll see a lot of the products, anything sort of denoted with, it used to be sort of a InfraWorks 360, now it's just called InfraWorks, but we can publish InfraWorks models up to docs and have some, all of these different disciplines and areas all collaborating within the project. If we look at the permissions, so you can see over here on the right, there is a few different permission levels in here as well. And you can see that there are 6 different permissions. So there is view only. So that way, anyone who logs on online can only view it. There is view and download, upload only, and then view, download, upload, view, download, upload, edit, and then basically full folder control there as well. So if you have someone on the project that just needs to view things, then you can add all of the users here and just tick them to be view only, and then that way they can only view the models up there in the cloud, and they can't do anything with the actual Revit files. And you can see also here, this is more to do with the collaboration side of things, but there's nothing stopping you from maybe making a subfolder under here, and you can have various maybe disciplines or companies or whatever you see fit on the project as well. There is also the subscribe feature. So you can see here, whenever something happens, when there are changes to this folder, so this folder and all subfolders, you'll get an email notification for that as well. So particularly handy if you want to be notified of all of the changes. You obviously get, if you're on a big project where there are lots of changes, do expect to get a lot of emails from BIM 360. So now that the project is set up and I can use it on Revit. So what we need to do is create a new model to get things going. So I'm just going to do an architectural template. And just for the first part of this demo, I'm just going to do a quick little model in here, but I do have another model that we're going to use to show things like differences and sheets and all that kind of stuff. So basically, to kick yourself off, I'm going to just place a slab. And I'm just going to do just very, very basic for the time being. And I'm just going to change these view ranges so we can see that slab. So there's our slab. And maybe I'm just going to stick in a structural wall across here as well. So this might be just the beginning of the project, and this is the point where you want to possibly be collaborating. So once you do sign in, you should always be signed into your Autodesk accounts up here, and then that way you can see what access and what you can and can't use. Now we want to collaborate. So on the home ribbon, about halfway along, there's the collaborate tab, and we click on the collaborate button. So I'm just going to save it, and I'm going to put it on my desktop and call it Tom's webinar. So as it kicks off the collaboration, I'm not collaborating within the network, I'm collaborating in BIM 360 doc management, and I go OK. Now, there's my file, and obviously we're on BIM 360. If I had other hubs in here, I'd see all of the other hubs. And as you do work with other companies, this hub list will obviously just continue to populate. So I want to add it to Cirrus, and under project files, and I'm going to initiate the handshake or the sharing of that model up into BIM 360. So depending, obviously, there's a few factors in there. So there could be, your local internet speed, your local PC, all of that kind of stuff. I'm personally on NBN here at the highest speed, so it shouldn't take too long. But what it is doing is like it said, it starts the work sharing and creating any default work sets. It's uploading the model to the cloud, and what it does also is, you would have seen that I saved it to my desktop, but what it's essentially doing now is that last step, it's going to save it to a local cache directory, which is one of those long named folders under the username of, C drive users, username, app data, Autodesk, etc., etc. So basically, that's where it's set it up. And I can denote which set I'm publishing. So I want to publish set 1, and I want to say all views and sheets in the model just for this exercise. But you can see here on the left here with the tick box, I can denote whether I just want to issue some of the elevations, some of the floor plans, and even some of the sheets as well. So I'm just going to say, yes, that's everything that I want to publish. And then I click on Manage Cloud Models, and this is where I determine I might do this every Friday, okay, or might do it every day, but it just depends. And we can see that because I've kicked it off the first go, we've got this little green tick here that says it has been published. So if I make a change to this now as well, let's throw a door in here. Let's throw a couple doors in here. Oh, some windows. Let's do, where is this? Oh no, ground floor, and we want to come up, let's go 4 meters. So let's see if we can throw a window in here. Okay, so there's just some changes that I've made to it. So when I do click on collaborate, I sync with central. So this synchronizes the model back to central. So it's similar to the old Revit server where you'd sync back to central. And then I click on Manage Cloud Models, and you'll see that there's a button here that's basically saying we want to publish the latest. So I click on that button, and it says that it's publishing it to the cloud. And we do have this orange bar up here that says that it is publishing, and it'll change to green up here if we leave that on. And we can see here, it might be a bit slow just through the webinar, but there is an animated arrow that says that it is publishing this model up to the web. Okay, now if we jump over to BIM 360, you can see here that it is publishing, and there's this little icon here that says that it's working, and we're already at V3, and it's a 4 megabyte file. So I'm just going to let that finish. And this button is still animating, and you can see here it's changed to green, and it says that it has been published. So if we do go back to the web, we can see here Tom's webinar Revit. And I've got my 3D views. I've got my 2D views here. So, I've got my sheets, which doesn't have anything on it. And we've got all of the different elevations and views that came out of Revit as well, because I determined that I wanted to see all of those, all of the sheets and any other views in there as well. So once it is in there, so just to show you what happens if we close that file, and you can see here to open that model again, there's a little BIM 360 work cloud model kind of icon. And that will just download it and open it from BIM 360, whereas some of these files are not BIM 360 files, and you can see they don't have the icon. So if I want to, again, if I open a new model, and we can either open from another location, or I can open from over here, and you can see I can go to my Cirrus directory and then go to project files, and then I can open up the other one. So this is one that I was playing with earlier. It's got a few more elements in it, and there's a few different revisions in there as well. Okay, so if we look at my 3D model here, so this is just a house plan that we'd started. So I've got some doors and windows in here, and what I can do is maybe throw in some more windows just on this wall, and do the same. I might say that we don't want to see this window, and I might delete that window as well, just to show you. So we go back to collaborate, sync with central. So this is synchronizing the model back up to the cloud. So it says successfully synced with central, and then we do the same thing. We go to manage cloud models, go to the project that we want to publish it to. So again, as you progress through projects, these will get bigger. And then same thing, I want to publish to the cloud. And if we do switch back to BIM 360, we'll give it a second, and then we'll see that this button here will show sort of, you know, the spinning circle to say that it is being updated. Okay, so we can see that we're already at version 8, and it was done today as well. Over on the right, so while that's processing, I'll just show you what happens over on the right here. We got the publish log, and you can see all of the files, any other PDF files, DWG files. It gives us a list of everything that's happened on the project, so you can go through and see whether someone had logged on, whether someone had uploaded a file, and basically go through and track and see what is happening on the project with all of the users and all of the files there as well, which you know, just basically keeps things honest on the project, and then that way no one can say that they didn't look at anything. So if we go to my new model here, and I've got version 8, and if I'm, I don't know, one of the engineers on the job, and I want to see what has changed, one of the great features is the compare function. So it tells me document A and document B. So I can check version 8 against version 7 of a particular sheet or a view. I want to do the 3D model for this, but it can be one of the floor plans there as well. And you can see that we have over here on the right, this little dashboard here says that 2 items were added, 2 were removed, and 2 were modified. Okay, and you can see as we click on things, so if I just want to see what was removed, I can turn off the other 2. If I want to see what was added, I can see those 2 windows there as well. And we've also got the element down here tells us what has changed. And over here on the right, we can see that the area and the volume has changed between the 2. So we do get those values in there as well. And we can also download, so you can see I can export a CSV file of all of those changes if it's something that you really need to track and change. So when you are on the project, you know, there's a little bit of similar functionality to Navisworks. Using my mouse here, I can go through and orbit and spin. I can see all of the properties on here as well. So if I look at the if I click that wall, I've got all of the Revit properties in there as well. I can do what's called section analysis. So I can cut my section line through the model there, and just basically gives me a better way of seeing what's inside there. I can obviously adjust the rotation. If I want to look at it from certain angles, then we can just go through and do all of that as well. So if something, if you've got quite a intense building model happening here, then this could be a useful tool for you to go through and see what's inside there without having to try and explode things. We can even do measurements. You can come in here and change the units, obviously, but we can go through and get some measurements on there. So we've got any angles, we can calibrate, we can delete the measurement, and we've got the measurement setting. So I can change that back to, let's go millimeters, precision, and then there it is, it's 24.185 meters. But the real power comes with doing markups. So we can add markups as well. So when, if I want something to happen to this door, so I can put a cloud around it. I can change the color. So if I want it to be blue, I've got a fill style, and I can nominate whether it's a private markup or a published markup. So private markup is only for your eyes, whereas a published one is for everyone. And if I save that, then now I can see that I saved it today. I can put comments on that as well. If I want to, I can throw text and any other sketches. But this might be just something for me to come back to remind myself that there needs to be a change as well. I can edit it, and then I can basically archive it, kind of saying like it's done and dusted. The issues are for when you want to assign something to somebody. So if I pick this door again, so I go create issue, and I pick this door, and I say it's a design issue. So maybe it's building code or clash or commissioning or whatever, but we'll call it design. I'm going to leave it as an open. It's not going to be a draft, so I do want it to be published. And I might say review the door, and I'm going to assign it to Max, and I want Max to action it by next Friday. So it gives him a week or so. If I have a bunch of locations in here, so this is just location 1, but you can go through and edit that, and I'll say entry door. It's just some details. I own it, and what's the root cause? I'll just say design coordination, and I'll say Max, please review this door with the client. They had some concerns. Okay, and then we go create. So what's going to happen now is Max is going to get an email in his mail program, and it'll give him a link to that issue. So when he does click on the link, it'll take him straight to the issue and straight down to this door as well. So then Max can determine what he needs to do, whether he needs to go back into the Revit model or whether it's something that we can just do within BIM 360. So we've got RFIs in here as well. So I'm not going to necessarily go through it, but we can create RFIs. I can review all of the sheets, the 2D, 3D side. I can see historically what has happened. So you can see for this file, V1 was done this morning, and you can see V8 was done at 10:53 today as well. And I've got all of my different levels in here as well. But again, very similar to the way Revit works with its levels as well. We've also got split view mode. So if we've got, let's go to the sheet. And I'm looking at the sheet, and I want to see where it is in the 3D model sense. So I can turn on the split view mode, and as soon as I click on something on the sheet, you can see it highlights that wall in the 3D model. So even if I go through and pick each of these doors, you can see, even though I've picked the door on the sheet, on the Revit sheet, we have that door within the 3D model there as well. So again, we can maybe do markups or issues against that door for whatever reason. So again, I personally like this. I think it's a great little tool where you can just go through and pick something here in the model, and then it highlights it over in the 3D model. So it gives you people a better idea on how and where things are from the 2D side to the 3D. But otherwise, we do still see the normal Revit views down the side here. So I have decided to publish all of the different views from Revit. But again, depending on your project and your needs and requirements, your obligations to it, you might determine that you only ever do sheets and you never issue the 3D model. So again, it'll be something that you'll go through when you do set it all up. Also, as well, if I felt like it, I can see here as well, all of the different versions, and I can basically, it says make current. So it's I think, for want of a better term, just basically promotes the file. So if I find that V6 was the one that I liked, I can promote it, and we'll get a version 9 up here as well. So all of those versions, they are kept there. So, we can, like I showed you before, compare the versions. But if worst comes to worst, you find that 3 weeks ago you needed that to be the latest and greatest, then you can promote this model to go back up there. Okay, so I'll just go back to the project home, and you'll see the project issues. So you should see the new one there that I did for Max, and again, Max is going to get an email, so he can come back to his own dashboard, and he'll see his own issues there as well. So that kind of concludes the overview for BIM 360 design. So I guess I can open up the floor now to any questions. If anyone has any questions they want to ask me.
So we'll just wait a couple more minutes, guys, for any questions. So we have a question from Alejandro. Can you speak on design collaboration consume project featuring?
That will be something. We do have a webinar coming up in a few weeks, I think. That goes into more detail. So this was just sort of a basic overview of design and collaboration, but we will go through issuing packs of files or models, and then the whole consumption process. It is, yeah, I won't do it today, but I will be doing it in a few weeks. So keep an eye out on the Redstack webinars for that. We'll do a deeper dive, sort of a more advanced session with the deeper things on BIM 360, but it is definitely something we'll cover.
Yep, thanks, Tom. And we have another question from Ben. Can you demonstrate an MEP collaboration?
It'll be exactly the same. So even though I did an architectural model, the MEP, if it's a Revit file or a Revit model, the exact same collaboration will happen. So there'll be nothing different in here. So if I do just jump back quickly into Revit, I can do the same thing. I can start running some ductwork across this model here as well. So obviously that's probably not the best idea to have a duct punching through the wall there, but it is exactly the same, whether it's architecture, structure, steel, or systems in Revit. And again, I say to everyone, if you want a bit of a deeper dive, contact one of your local reps at Redstack, and we can do a little bit of a deeper dive to help you in regards to seeing some features, or even helping with setting up projects or models or users or whatever else you need.
Yep, so just wait for 30 more seconds. Any more questions? So I think we'll just, hang on, we get one more question here.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have a YouTube channel, and it will be uploaded later on today. All right, guys, so we'll just wrap it up. So thanks again for joining us in today's webinar run. And if you have any more questions, you can contact us via email at solutions@redstack.com.au. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.